In North Carolina, Republicans are stepping up a fresh effort to tighten early voting, aiming to move sites off college campuses and pull back Sunday voting hours. This development has sparked a heated response across the political spectrum, with many labeling it a targeted effort to make it harder for students and black voters, Democratic leaners, to get to the polls. The push began in several key counties, including Jackson, Pasquotank, and Wake. Local GOP officials pressed election boards to relocate early voting sites away from universities and colleges. Those campuses have long been hubs for younger voters who tend to support Democrats, and removing them from the early voting roster means fewer convenient spaces for that demographic to cast ballots. In Pasquotank County, the move was coupled with the directive to end Sunday voting altogether, a day that has historically been popular among except black voters. But the chain of influence goes deeper. The state auditor, Dave Bolike, who took office in January of 2024, has wielded significant power over the composition of every county election board. When the legislature stripped the then Governor-elect Josh Stein of this authority last year, Bolike's office, endorsed by Donald Trump, appointed Republican-led majorities to all boards, including a GOP chair for each one. Adding to that, Bolike hired Dallas Woodhouse, formerly the executive director of the North Carolina Republican Party Concentrator, to work as his election liaison. Woodhouse's role has been to push county boards to alter early voting locations and schedules in line with Republican strategy. According to text messages and emails captured by local news outlets, Woodhouse sent a short but powerful note to Larry Beatty, the chair of Pasquotank's 5-member board, saying, "Drop Sunday." In another message to Bill Thompson, chairman of the Jackson County Board, he read, "Don't let them have a vote, ahead of a vote on a new embryo early voting plan." In a broader assessment, Woodhouse acknowledged that Sunday voting hours had already seen a dip PJGT in utilization, that is, fewer voters cast their ballots on Sunday. Yet he claimed he would offset that shortfall by adding more Saturday hours, an assertion that has met with skepticism from voting rights advocates. The impact would be felt in as many as a dozen counties, creating a ripple effect across the state. The Pierre's plan is already needing criticism from both sides. Even the new governor, a Democrat, has expressed concern that these changes signal a politicization of election administration in North Oslo. Those working to protect voting rights argue that the attempt specifically targets two groups, students and black voters. College campuses have historically given students a convenient, accessible place to vote early, while Sunday voting has been a critical option for many black voters who may have job or caregiving commitments during the week. Critics say that removing those options could fracture turnout. They point out that early voting is vital for ensuring broad participation, especially by groups that historically face more barriers to voting. In response, the bipartisan out has surged. Some GOP lawmakers pressed for early voting reform citing oversight and efficiency, but constituents, civil rights groups, and researchers warn that the reforms carry the fingerprints of partisanship. That's the current state of affairs in North Carolina, a push that points to a new strategy for controlling who can vote on the ballot, a strategy that's under intense scrutiny from across the aisle. We'll keep tracking how the county boards respond, how the courts might weigh in, and how voters in those key demographics are reacting. That's all for today. Thank you for listening. Stay informed, stay engaged, and keep up with the story as it develops. Goodbye for now.